sponsors, maintain their health and wellness as runners, and what we'll hopefully see tonight is a true reflection of what we all come to track meets to see, is to see runners running at their best.
All right, well, let's show you the lineup for this race. Wearing bib 301 is Elise Cranny, Stanford, 2018, originally from Niwot, Colorado. She is the world leader right now at 14:48:02.
Been a solid runner, and that was a real breakthrough moment for her, as finished 7th in the national championship a year ago in Des Moines. Very versatile runner, a U.S. champion in cross country back in 2014, and a 2014 World Junior Championship competitor, just finishing off the podium in 4th.
Wearing bib 302 is Courtney Frericks out of Nixa, Missouri. Went to Missouri, Kansas City, finished up in New Mexico, and that's when she really blew up on the scene. She is the current American record holder in the steeplechase, 9 flat and 85.
What a wonderful moment we had back in 2017 at the London World Championships, where Emma Coburn and Courtney Frericks both made the medal stand. And, it's kind of roles reversed now. Courtney, the current American record holder, but again, speaking of the depth in that event, that was a record that we were fully expecting to see at least broken or taken a few seconds down by Frericks by the time this season was over.
Native of Philadelphia, University of Texas, Mariel Hall, 2016 Olympian at 10,000.
Yeah, that NCAA championship at this distance back in 2014 has that Olympic pedigree, and will be part of this field trying to help a couple of her teammates run fast tonight.
There's Shelby Houlihan, second from the right in your picture, out of Sioux City, Iowa, Arizona State. World 1500 best this year at 4:02:37, and she is the American record holder in this event, 14:34:45.
Also that American record of 1,500 meters, and already 13 times a U.S. champion, and she's only 26 years old.
The tall girl is Gwen Jorgensen out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin alum, Olympic gold medalist in triathlon. When she puts her mind to something, watch out. Her PR 15:18:25 set that just a week ago.
Yeah, next to her is Colleen Quigley, and what can you say about Colleen, an NCAA champion in her own right in the steeplechase, made the Olympic final in the steeplechase in Rio in 2016, and will be one of our pacers tonight.
That is Quigley on the far right of your screen. And Karissa Schweizer wearing 308. She's there in lane 3 right now out of Des Moines, University of Missouri. PR 14:45:18, number 2 in the world, 1,500 this year. Also the indoor 3K world leader this year. Athletes are at the line for the start of the women's 5,000. So again, the pacers will be Cranny, Frerich, and Quigley, all excellent racers in their own right. We'll keep an eye on the splits, expecting 70s, and again, I think we'll get right to speed at the beginning. No field to sort out here, and Quigley takes the point right away, Frerich on her shoulder.
And Bob, maybe we'll get a better look at it when we go around the backstretch for the first time, but that flag that had been waving midway through the backstretch for most of the early evening, now nearly still. So conditions in Western Oregon doing what they normally do at this hour, at this time of year, getting quiet, but for a reason, because this is the time to run fast.
Yeah, the temperature has dropped to 77 degrees. The meet on the 30th, we started about an hour earlier, but it was a much cooler evening, and there were some low clouds, so this was strategic, starting the race later. And we talked about the shadows already all the way across the track, so nobody's looking into the sun, wind's down, and it is very, very comfortable. Colleen Quigley, Courtney Frerich taking us through in a perfect 70 to get us started.
Yeah, single file line here. It's all set up with the 3 pacers in front of Houlihan, who is in 4th, and Schweizer, who is in 5th, followed by Jorgensen and Muriel Hall. But Bob, I think what we'll keep an eye on is just kind of them clicking off these early laps and just being in that position where they're coming through that 3K in about 8:45 to 8:50. You go back to that Belgium race where Houlihan broke the American record. That 3K split, which will be one to keep an eye on, was 8:49, now with 11 laps to run.
Seeing the final 2 positions, Gwen Jorgensen, mentioned she was the Olympic triathlon gold medalist, had set a goal. She retired became a mom and then decided to become a marathoner, and she's very big on goal setting. She said her goal was to be the Olympic marathon champion. Well, after an injury and now with no marathons to run, she's refocusing a little bit and maybe thinking 10K. 800 and 220, and we are on the dot, 70-70 to get things started. Jorgensen now thinking 5 or 10K with the Olympics put off a year. But see, for an athlete like that, the interruption of a schedule gives you the time to reset. The marathon ramp up is so intricate, you only have so many chances. Okay, well, there's no marathons. She can focus on 5-10 and have a little more flexibility in this year. And again, we don't know what the winter's going to bring at all.
No, and we're seeing that tomorrow in Utah, too, at the St. George's Showdown, where a number of the athletes that were in Atlanta for the Olympic trials are now going to be back on the track running that 5K. Get 2:57 or so, I think, for the first kilometer of this race. And Quigley still out in front as the pacer. Again, the top three you see on your screen, all pacing for the two women behind them, Houlihan and Schweizer.
Colleen Quigley, pretty dangerous. She has that mile speed that she brings to this event. She's won the U.S. Indoor Champ. She's won at Millrose, so against good competition. 3:30 for 1200. 3 perfect 70s. Quigley, native of St. Louis, has a 4:03 1500, 9:10 steeple. And she is all about food. Wants to be a dietitian. Now you see Courtney Frericks pushing up just a little more on the shoulder in the second position as we come down to 9 laps to go. Frericks was a gymnast originally before finding track and field. Had a lot of early success in cross country. Again, the American record holder in the steeple, 9 minutes, 0.85. She's 14:50.6 for 5,000. So no change in our parade. Quigley, Frerick, Cranny. So we come to 1,600. On the dot at 4:40.
Yeah, Bob, everything going to plan here so far. And no idea going into this race, Bob, whether there'll be some sharing of that front running duty or whether Quigley will just carry herself as far as she can go and then turn it over to Frericks.
But you noticed here, Shelby Houlihan, in fact, the whole group of the what we call the racers versus the pacers, they pushed up already. We come to 8 laps to go, 5:17 on the clock. I don't know what's more impressive, and you've seen all these of Shelby's career, the American record in this event, or what she did, under the conditions of Doha, running it twice.
See Quigley now stepping away and will relinquish her duties here as they come up on 2 kilometers in 5:51.
So 71 for the last lap.
And maybe just a little transition there as Quigley was leading. So
it is Courtney Frerick's turn. Lise Cranny in second. Now again, they're in pace mode. Houlihan close behind. Then Schweizer. Jorgensen. Now Quigley rejoins the pack in the back. And you see Hall picking up the pace a little bit. 7 laps remaining at 6:25.
And I think the only thing that really is kind of odd, and we've been seeing it and talking about it a lot, Bob, with just, now with the MLS back and the Women's Soccer League back. I mean, we have a few spectators here, a few now lining up on the backstretch. You may see some of them now as they go down the backstretch once again. A few folks that have sneaked their way into the adjacent parking lot that are looking through, trying to see if they can be part of what could potentially be some history here. But, you know, it's again, these women have to really manufacture this pace and this energy on their own.
7:01 for 2400, so we're back to the 70 pace. Entire group still in competition. Quigley, who paced early, still in the race, but has eased off to the back, and you see that Hall has now passed her. And now Houlihan pushing forward, along with Schweizer, along with Jorgensen. And 6 laps remaining at 7:37 in the women's 5,000.
Well, again, we'll be watching the clock here as they come up on 3,000 on this next full circle around the track. 2 years ago in Belgium, 8:49, the time that Shelby Houlihan came through. And again, she was paced by Shelane Flanagan, who is now down here on the main straightaway in a role of coach and supporter for this team.
$2,800 coming up now. 8:12. So that was a 72.
And Bob, we may see a couple of the runners stop at 3,000 meters. They have set up a clock stamp here for that 3,000 meter distance. But again, full 5,000 meters for the racers in front, as they'll now come down the straightaway and will reach 3,000 meters. And Frerick steps to the outside.
So 5 laps to go, 8:47 says the clock. And Elise Cranny goes to the lead. And now we have 4 competitors remaining. Ariel Hall is done at 3,000. By the way, doing the math right now, we're about a 14:40 pace, which will still be 8 to 10 seconds better than last Tuesday's race. 9:21 for 3,000.
That marked, Bob, 3,200 meters. So we'll
32.
Yeah, going back to that 8:45 for 3,000.
3,000, okay.
So, you know, 8:45, 8:47, again, still about 2 seconds faster than what we saw in Belgium. And again, as we set the stage for what will be the windup for these last 4 laps around the track, it's the speed that is capable in really, I think, both Schweizer and Houlihan, but we've seen it over and over again by Shelby Houlihan. That last lap in Belgium to break the American record was 60 seconds. So having that, coming into that last kilometer within about 10 seconds of the record, I don't see that as being a problem for her to race down.
So last lap was a 69, and here goes Houlihan. As Cranny will yield, and this is down to the big 2 who are chasing the time. Shelby Houlihan, Karissa Schweizer. 10:32 for 3,600. So back to a 71. So last week when they went out at 72 pace, but roughly the same group, they dropped it down to 66 for the last 4 laps. We'll see what Shelby and Karissa want to do now.
And you'll see coming into picture Shelane Flanagan here in a moment, talking to both Houlihan and Schweizer, both looking very comfortable. You know, so impressed with the development and evolution of what Karissa Schweizer has done. And as it happens in a lot of cases with athletes coming here to work with Schumacher, it takes a couple of seasons for them to get into the rhythm of the system. And she has certainly shown in this particular year that she was very much ready for big things, set the American indoor 3,000 meter record earlier this year before the pandemic, and is now in a position to be in hot pursuit of the current American record holder at 5,000 meters.
Coming to 4,000, less than 3 laps to go. 11:42, that's a 70.
So they're sub 14:40 pace right now, right where they want to be.
Now you see a little more pickup by Schweizer. but still holding the second spot. Likes Houlihan's shoulder. They both know where each other are.
Rest of the athletes now showing that team camaraderie and on the side of the track here, trying to gear them up for these final 2 laps.
800 to go at 12:16. An American record, 14:34. They're on about a 14:40 pace. That would be world best this year. In fact, it'd be world best 1-2.
Well, and I think Schweizer is going to make the move now, and that's probably the smart thing to do. But what will Houlihan do? Fight her off as usual.
12:50 at 4,400. There's a 68, so the pace picking up now. And remember, Houlihan somehow always has the big burst at the end. I don't mean just the final stretch.
Only 23 women in history, Bob, have run faster than 14:30. And with the speed and this duel now developing here with a lap to run, we're about to see something special.
Shelby Houlihan, Karissa Schweizer, 13:22 at the bell. Houlihan, a little more relaxed. Schweizer, a little stronger turn. They're running the same pace.
Now look at Schweizer. She's trying to get that distance back between her and Houlihan, and for a lot of races in the last few years for Shelby Houlihan, she has not heard footsteps from behind, but she does now with 200 to go.
64 was the last lap. But Houlihan has some left in the tank. She looked much more comfortable the last 400 or 500, and she's got it at the end. And Shelby Houlihan is going to name the number, and this will be the world best this year.
Well, Bob, not only the world's best, but a new American record for Shelby Houlihan. 14:24:18 unofficially. Now 14, I think 61. We'll wait the official result here, but that, again, enormous kick by Shelby Houlihan.
14:23:92 to 14:26:34.
So they both go under the American record, and they both go under